Lake County Treasurer Holly Kim is the Treasurer's Office Asian Pacific American Heritage Month awardee for outstanding commitment as an elected official. She has served as the Lake County Treasurer since December of 2018. And prior to this, she was a business management professional in the not-for-profit, public, and private sectors. Holly has held several online clinics to help educate the people throughout Lake County and beyond on topics such as credit, borrowing basics, and our own charitable trust program. She and her husband, Ben, have 4 children and remain active within their community. Holly, thanks for joining me today, and congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you, Treasurer.
We'll have a lot of treasurer back and forth. It reminds me of a great Chevy Chase movie where a bunch of doctors were together saying, doctor, doctor, doctor.
Treasurer.
So, Treasurer, you began your career in the private sector. What influenced you to get involved in politics and local government?
So that's true. There's the real answer, and then there's the other real answer. So one, I started going to village board meetings because I wanted pet chickens. Little known fact, I actually have a small chicken tattoo to remind me that due to a small bird, I'm still here in some ways. And then the other reason being, as I attended those board meetings for many months, I saw that the village board sometimes turned down business owners, much like my own parents. And for whatever reason, I looked at my friend and I was like, there's a lot of empty storefronts here. And if you and I were on this board, right, this was like the tipping point moment of like, it's a numbers game. And if you and I are on this board and we just vote yes, we have all these businesses in town, right? A lot of small business owners, much like, my own parents, immigrant business owners, but also entrepreneurs. And so we just decided we'd run for office. And that was it. That was like we should run for office. Yeah. And here I am still to this day.
I think that's not that uncommon of a story for someone saying they had a bad experience with government, decided to change it. Maybe your experience with chickens is unique, but Holly,
I do have pet chickens now.
You have chickens now?
Yeah, I have 5 pet chickens.
5 pet chickens. Are they egg laying? Do you eat their eggs?
Yes, they lay eggs that are like blue and slightly pinky and white, and so we have like a rainbow of eggs every day.
Oh, that's great. Now, so you mentioned your parents and being small business owners. One, I'm curious what their small business was and how being the daughter of immigrants, how has that experience helped you better serve your community and various communities?
So I think I have a wonderful, unique experience in that. So my parents were business owners. They owned Kim's Business Systems, which is a copier and fax company back in the day, and my dad still fixes copiers to this day and sells toner. Um, let's see here. He was also the president of his Korean JCs in Chicago and the Chamber of Commerce over there. So that's why I say it's slightly unique in that I actually grew up volunteering in the community and going to meetings like all the time and like, weekend fundraisers, for whatever causes they're doing. And so in some ways, it really taught me to work hard. And to during my free time to find that time to give back to the community, and it really like in some sort of Karate Kid sort of a way, you wouldn't think wax on wax off teaches you karate. Well, going to all that as a kid really prepped me for the life I have right now. It really feels no different, and it's great. I love being in the community.
That makes all the sense in the world to me. So you mentioned your parents started you giving in the community, and your current job, you're serving the community, but that hasn't been it. You also worked with Hanul Family Alliance Benefit. Well, Family Alliance Benefit. How does your experience working with Hanul Family Alliance benefit the communities that they serve? And how do your experiences there connect with your current work?
So I've been on the Hanul board for over 7 years, and Hanul Family Alliance is actually a Korean senior care organization. We send home care workers to people's homes to help with chores, to help make food, and so it's a much needed, like section of our I don't know, aging care, I guess I would say. So I've been there for about 7 years, and it's been a great experience to not only have this generation that raised me, but for me to like give back to the community in that way. So on the board, in fact, yesterday there was a fair over there for Crime Victims Week, and I talked to them about we're having like a 211 training for any of the Asian health services. because up here in Lake County, and I think it's going to be in the entire state of Illinois, you can dial 211 when anyone's having a mental health crisis, if they need resources, if they need food. It's like 411, but to connect you to any nonprofit. So you dial 211. And we also work together in Buffalo Grove. There's a police officer there named I call him Officer Matthew Charles, and he's their community service officer. And he had a project to do hate crime booklets, how to report a hate crime, and he had it translated into Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese. And he reached out to me. I actually donated my treasurer's stipend of several $1,000s to this project so that it could come to life, his dream. And so we passed those all out at the Hanul Fair yesterday, and so we're doing our part to make sure we give back to that community.
Yeah, I work with a lot of county treasurers, and it's very easy to just collect taxes, to make investments. But you've taken this job and done a lot more community outreach. I mentioned some of those, including helping us to get out the word on our charitable trust in our office. So what are some other things you have done to get information out in the community? What other organizations have you partnered with to help spread positive information?
Oh gosh,
This is
basically
an
anybody.
opportunity for you to brag on
Oh,
improvements in your office.
I don't know if it's within my genetics to brag, but any nonprofit out there who wants to partner up to do good work, I'm there for it. In fact, later tonight, I'm going to a fishing derby by the Exchange Club over in Round Lake because I love fishing. But whether it's there was a Black fraternity that reached out and wanted to do a fiscally fit education class for their youth, whether it's a senior fair and they want us to put a table out there. As you mentioned, our fiscally fit program, we have all sorts of classes, including ones for seniors and for young people, and they're all kind of fiscal fitness themed. You see my little cute sweaty pig on the treadmill. But we've been partnering to do that. We also have been partnering with different villages or elected officials or even HOAs to do understanding your assessment and your tax bill. Because I think a lot of times people receive these in the mail and you just kind of look at it and you're like, okay, and then you just throw it on the counter. Or you get your tax bill and you're like, ee, and then you throw it on your counter. But there's a lot of understanding on, how do these numbers come to be, right? And if you understand, then you, one, know exactly the right place to call when you have a question, but then two, it's not so up in the air of like, how did these numbers come out? And so we do a lot of outreach, a lot of education, and you're right, it is one of the things that I said I would bring in 2018 when I first got in this office. So it's changed significantly, and we are definitely out there in the community because I think a lot of people have questions about property taxes, right? We see it on Facebook, lots of questions, lots of comments, but nobody out there to answer the questions. And so that was really a thrust of why we're doing this.
Well, great. Well, Holly, thank you for taking the time here. So hopefully we have people who are watching this, maybe some young people who think, wow, I would like to have a similar impact. I would like to do something similar. So for those viewers, young or older, who are looking for a mid-career change, what advice or inspiration would you give to members, particularly of the Asian community, to become more involved leaders with their communities, or people who want to pursue a similar path through elected office?
Um, I would tell everyone, like everyone, and children and all ages, go out and volunteer. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Because if you want to affect change in your community, you have to connect with your community. There's so many good organizations out there that need volunteers and that need that help. Just last weekend, I was over at the Lions Club in Lake Zurich, and they had an amazing fundraiser. And, these organizations, the civic groups, will take volunteers all the time. Now, if you volunteer, you kind of get your toe into like understanding what it's like to serve your community. And from there, you'll have the skills actually to run for office because a lot of it, right, you would understand, is connecting with the people and hearing them and understanding their concerns.
Great. Well, Holly Kim, that is great advice, and that is why you were chosen as our office's Asian Pacific American Heritage Month awardee for outstanding commitment as an elected official. Holly, I want to thank you for joining me today, and I want to thank you for all the work you do in your community.
Thank you. I'm very excited to have this award.